So lesson 8.3 is about slope and the y-intercept. Okay? The slope is referring to the steepness of the line on the graph. How steep it is. If it's flat, then how steep is that? What number would you associate it with a horizontal line if we're talking about the steepness of a line? 0, yeah, it goes up 0. All right, the slope of a line is how much it goes up, or called the rise. The change in the y means that the y-coordinate changes, or it's called the vertical change, over the change in the x, also known as the run, or the horizontal change. So as the line is changing along the x-axis, it's changing along the y-axis. And that's called the slope of the line. The slope is written as a fraction or a ratio. Okay, it's really a ratio of the change in y over the change in x. So, to find the slope, you have to find how much it changes by subtracting the y-coordinates and subtracting the x-coordinates, or the change in y over the change in x. Okay? If you are given a line on a graph, you can count the change in the y and the change in the x. So first you count up or down from one point to the other, and then you can count over to figure out how much is changing in the horizontal change, or changing in the x-coordinate. So in this example, we have a point marked at -6, 2. And another point marked at -2, 4. So if we counted up from 2 to 4, how much is that? From 2 to 4? Yep, 2. So it's the amount of how much it's rising is 2. And from -6 to -2 is also 4. And so the rise is 2, and it goes over 4. So it goes, the slope is then 1 over 2, or 1/2. Okay? Daria.
How I did it is, I did, you know how it's 6 and, or is that 6? The graph thing.
Yeah, this graph moves. Or I'm sorry, the line got moved. This line used to be down here, so I don't know how that is.
If you put a 6 over, if you put 6, you put 2 minus 4, then you can subtract.
Yeah, we're going to subtract to find the slope. But when you're given the points, you can also count to find the slope. Okay? Any questions on that? So that's what we're going to do, and now let's go through some examples and go through your assignment for today.
I have some questions on the quiz.
Well, Roy, we're going to go through the, I'll work with you on that later, okay? We're going to go through this, the assignment that I assigned for you today, 1 through 8 first. So on the first one, number 1, there's a line going from number 1, there's a line going from -5, -2. And going up to -1, 1. So it goes up this way like this, okay? Now, if you are counting, if you're given a line and you count up and over, you can count from -2 to 1 first. So -2, oops, I'm sorry. -2 to -1, -1 to 0, and then 0 to 1. Those spaces. And so that's a rise of 3. There's 3 spaces up, right? Then, from that point, count over from -5 to -1. -5 to -4, -4 to -3, -3 to -2, -3 to -1. So it is a move of 4 spaces to the right. Okay? How many of you got 3 over 4 for that one? If you didn't, go to the graph in the book and count the spaces up. You should count up from 1, 2, 3 spaces up. And then count over 4 from that line, 4 spaces to the right, and you get to the dot. So the rise is 3, and the run is 4. It gives us a slope of 3 over 4. Okay? Emily?
Can you just count it from the middle dot?
You can count it from the middle dot to the next dot, or you can count it from the bottom dot to the middle dot. What if you counted up from the bottom dot all the way up to the top dot? What if you counted all the way from here to here? Would you get the same slope? If you simplify it, you would, wouldn't you? How many spaces up is it, Daria? Count up in your book. Open your book. Okay, now count up from the bottom dot, the spaces up to the top dot. Roy, do that also. How many spaces is it from the bottom dot to the top dot? Are you on the right page?
6.
Okay, number 1. 6 spaces, right? 6 spaces up. Then, how far over is it? Count over from that spot to the dot. Did you do that? What is it? Yeah, 8 spaces, right? From here to here is 8 spaces. So the rise is 6, the run is 8, and if we simplify it, which we have to do because it's a ratio, we simplify it to 3/4. If points are along the same line, they will have the same slope. Okay? Points along the same line will have the same slope. Okay? Let's go to number 2. Number 2, in your book, we have points marked at 1, 2. And 3, 0. and the line goes like this. Okay? So, in this case, how does this line look different? The other one was kind of like this. How does this one go as you move to the right? Does it go, Jen? Yeah, it becomes negative. It's going down. Okay? Any line that's going down to the right is going to be a negative slope. Okay? Actually, write that down in your notes. Go to your notes and write negative slope, and then put an arrow that's going down to the right next to it. The negative slope goes down and to the right. Okay? And underneath that, write a positive slope. Or actually, I'll put it over here. Positive slope goes up and to the right. Remember that positive slope was 3/4. That's positive, because there's no negative sign in it. So this one is going to be a negative slope. When you're counting, you're either going to count down first, and any move counting down is a negative number. So from 1 to 0 is a rise or a move of -1. From 1 to 0. So the first number is -1. Then it goes from 2 to 3. So that's a run of 1, which gives us a negative slope. Alex, what are you doing? This gives us a negative slope. Okay? Now, we could count it the reverse direction. We could count up and then left. Right? So we could go from this point, count up to 2, which is a rise of 1. But then it's a move to the left of 1. So then the run is negative. Does it still give us the same slope?
Yep.
Yeah, it's still negative, isn't it? It's still -1/1. Now, one thing you should also remember about writing slope is that you keep it as a fraction. Instead of writing a slope of just -1, if you're writing it as a ratio, keep the top, keep the numerator and the denominator. So write it as 1 over -1, or -1/1, or just -1/1 like this. Okay? Because each number refers to a move on a graph. So both numbers are important. Okay? Does everyone understand how to count to find the slope? Count up and over, or down and over. Cool.
I counted using the little boxes, and from 3 to 2 it has 2 boxes, so I put 2.
From 3 to 2 is what, 1 space. There's from 3 to 2. Oh, you counted from the number? Oh, from 0 to 2. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Divide that by 2 though.
No, yeah, I see what you mean. It's from 2 to 0 is 2 spaces. I should have started with this. This is 2 spaces, negative 2 spaces, and this is over 2 spaces. All right? And this is up 2 spaces and over 2 spaces. So when you're starting with it as negative 2 over 2, which reduces to negative 1 over 1, or 2 over negative 2, which reduces to negative 1 over 1. Yeah. Does that make sense? If it's 2 over negative 2 or negative 2 over 2, it's a slope of 1 over 1. Okay? Any questions about counting to find the slope? Count the rise and count the run, write it as a ratio. Okay? Let's go to using the slope formula. So, in your notes, that is this formula right here. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? That's called the slope formula. So, we're going to use that formula. Write it at the top of your page. Now, what do these little numbers mean? They're not exponents.
You have to multiply?
No, you don't multiply them either. It's referring to the order of the numbers that when you use them. Okay? So when you're given 2 points, like in number 3, you're given these points. Point A is 2, 6. And point B is 8, 1. Okay? Now, what these points refer to are points on a graph. So, we're talking about these points. 2, 6 would be about here, and 8, 1 would be about here. So are we talking about a negative slope or a positive slope? It's going to be a negative slope. Okay? We can find the slope, though, not by counting, but by using the slope formula. So what we do is, this refers to x2 and y2. This refers to x1 and y1. These are the first numbers. This is the first point that's given, and this is the second point that's given. You probably should look up here when I'm showing you this. Okay? So what we do is subtract the y coordinates, y2 minus y1, 1 minus 6, which you make 1 plus negative 6. And that equals negative 5. And then you subtract the x coordinates. x2 minus x1. 8 minus 2. 6. And it gives us our ratio. Negative 5 over 6. Okay? So, the little numbers refer to the order. And the order that you use is important. You have to keep the same order. Now, would you get the same answer if you did them in a different, if you did them in the opposite order? So if you did, 6 minus 1, and then 2 minus 8. Could you do them in that order and get the same answer? What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, because as long as you keep the same order, you're still going to get the same ratio. Look, if we start with 6 minus 1, and then do 2 minus 8, you get 5 over negative 6. Are these the same? Yeah, they're both negative. 5 over negative 6 and negative 5 over 6 are the same. So this gives you the same slope. They're both negative. Max, you look confused. Whether the negative sign is in the numerator or in the denominator doesn't matter. It makes the whole fraction negative. Alright? This is just negative 5/6. Negative 5/6. It doesn't matter where the negative sign is. Does that help? As long as there's only one negative sign. What if there were 2 negative signs? Would this be negative?
No.
What would the slope be if it was negative 5 over negative 6? Would it be negative or positive?
Negative.
Negative over negative is,
Positive.
that would be a positive slope, yep. Because these negative signs would cancel each other out. If there's 2 negative signs, it's really positive. Okay? If there's 1, it's negative. Does that make sense? What's number 4? Who has number 4? Jen?
Negative 2 over 1.
Good. Negative 2 over 1. Check your answer for number 4. Where's yours? Did you get it right?
How do you know what dot to go off?
Number 4. No. Number 4 is negative 2 over 1. Number 5. What's number 5? Lindsay?
Negative 1.
Good. Negative 1 over 1. Number 6. Someone new? Abby?
2 over 1.
2 over 1. Good. Number 8. Daria?
Negative 6 over 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Number 7.
Negative 5 over negative 7.
Is it negative 5 over negative 7?
Negative 5.
Negative 5/7. Good. Either negative 5 over 7 or negative 5 over 7 or 5 over negative 7. It's all negative. Okay? And number 8. Ariana? Negative 6 over negative 3. Okay. Now, how would we simplify that? 2 over 1. Good. Remember to simplify. Okay? Always simplify the slope. Not yet. Always simplify the slope. Any questions on calculating the slope? Okay. We're going to only do the reteaching side today.
Get a green mohawk.
Did everyone get a worksheet? Okay.
Guys, be quiet.
In the first one, You are counting to find the slope. So, if you're given a line and you're not given specific points on the line to count, let's say that you're just given a line, but there are no dots marked on the line. How could you use that line to find the slope? What if you are just given a line, but there's no dots? There's no dots that are marked in bold. Look at this line up here.